This is the Home Tech Podcast, show number 65, recorded on Friday night, March 16th, 2012. I am your host, Jim Collison, broadcasting live and commercial free from the AverageGuy.tv studios here in very warm today for March 16th, and it broke the 80s. Man, we are seeing some great weather across the country. Actually, I came up from Missouri, and everything's blooming down there, so I think winter's out of here. Hopefully, we've seen the end of snow and ice, and we'll just see rain and summer. We record here from the Average Guy studios in Bellevue, Nebraska, posted each week with world-class show notes out at theaverageguy.tv. You can contact the show, podcast at theaverageguy.tv. Track me down on Twitter, and I've been using a lot more Twitter lately because I actually use it for work now, and I appreciate you guys chatting with me. I'm getting a few more tweets during the week from you guys. Rennie, thanks for your tweets, and I actually had somebody ask me about a fitness tech podcast, which I haven't done in about 9 months. And they said, hey, are you done doing them? I just got caught up. I was like, wow. Well, yeah, we're done for now. So on the other side of fitness tech, we have not started those back up, but I appreciate your tweets. You can also find us on Facebook and iTunes just by searching for the Average Guy Podcast and leave a comment on iTunes if you're out there. Hopefully leave a good one, and that always helps with our search rankings. We've also redesigned the site for all the links that you might need to download it to your iPod, iPad, or any Android device that you might have. Just look for the links on the right-hand side of the page. I've also opened up a new Twitter account called the Average Guy TV. Sole purpose is to let you know when the show is on or when the show is off. It seems like my schedule has been nuts, as well as most of the hosts. We've had a hard time getting shows done, which is why we're here on a Friday night as opposed to Thursday. And so now hopefully I can tweet right from my phone if I think I'm going to miss the show. And if you go out to the averageguy.tv/live, you can see the tweet. It's more of an announcement section right above the live stream. All right, we got that done. It is Friday night. Thursday didn't work out. I was down in Kansas City last night for a conference. Actually, that was this morning. Made the trip down there, made the trip back up today, but just cut right in the middle of Thursday night. Maybe good that we didn't do it on Thursday night anyways. I think everybody was a little jammed up. But joining us tonight, of course, my friend out in St. Louis and the doctor of disaster, Chris Lux. How are you?
Oh, no, how'd I get that moniker?
I just made it up. You said goo. You might have goo on you when you came in. I was just like, maybe it was a disastrous day in the ER today.
I ran here straight from the ER. Well, every day is a little bit of a disaster in the
Yeah.
ER. Otherwise,
But
it wouldn't
some
be
more
the
than
ER.
But some more than others, maybe, right?
No, I don't think I have any goo on me. So, but I would take a shower before I hugged any of you. So
that's always a good thing. Chris, how are things in your neck of the woods? I know you're making some decisions about some future stuff. Anything you
am. Well, nothing yet. So I've got one last fellowship interview, and then I put all of my chips into a list, and I find out on May 2nd where the fates will take me. So
all right,
kind of all over the country. I got options in the West Coast, the East Coast, the Midwest. Really, the only place I didn't look was the South. So got everything else covered.
Just move someplace with ample Wi-Fi. Or ample bandwidth. That's all.
That's right. Or a plug-in somewhere. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that'll be key.
All right, so a little over or a little under 2 months, and we'll kind of know your next duty.
And I have to apologize if my voice is froggy tonight. I'm getting over a bit of a bug that I'm sure I picked up from one of my friends in the emergency room.
Yeah.
But I've basically been sleeping for 4 days, and this was my first day back into the ER. So,
Chris, are medical professionals on average more sick than the rest of us because they're around it so much?
I don't think so. I think we like to think that we're kind of like school teachers, where the first few months a school teacher is sick like forever. And I think intern year, a lot of us got little things here and there, but then you get exposed to so much stuff that I think you just kind of get it all early and then you're done.
Yeah.
For me, I don't know what I picked up, but it was some kind of fun bug. But the other thing is we're washing our hands constantly. We've got alcohol or soap or something on our hands all the time. So I think it evens out in the end.
Yeah. When I spent some time with my dad, he broke his hip back in the winter, and we were in the hospital quite a bit. And every time I'd go in, you'd pump and pump, and they got that stuff outside the rooms, and you'd be washing all the time. that just destroys your hands after a while, and it leaves kind of a filmy, how
Yeah,
do you deal with that day in
I
and day out?
you know, I've kind of gotten used to it, but they'll still
Yeah.
be like once every other month. I'll look down and I'm like, wow, what's all over my clothes? I'm like, oh, it's my hands. They just fell off again. Like, and it's kind of nasty, but there's new skin under there. It's just it
Yeah,
like turns into some kind of like
like
alligator
a
skin and
film.
falls off.
Yeah,
And yeah,
yeah.
it's awesome.
Well, good to have you on the podcast tonight, and appreciate you taking a Friday night to come out
Yeah,
and be with
talk
us.
some
Thanks.
tech.
Yeah, you bet. Also with us tonight and back after a week off, maybe two, Christian. Of course, he's the moderator and the stud behind BIOS mods. And Christian, any update to the HP microserver BIOS modification, or is that just pretty much rock and roll, ready to go?
The unlock is ready to go, pending on any stuff with S3 sleep, but I haven't had the opportunity
The
to
time.
dissect that thing.
Yeah,
So.
you've been all over. Last weekend you were out in New York. Is that?
Yeah, New
Yeah.
York City. Did a concert in Alice Tully Hall. That was pretty intense.
Nice,
And
nice.
yeah, so came back to another hardcore 1 or 2 weeks of school from there.
Yeah.
Took a SAT round on Saturday.
Full-fledged one or practice?
Oh, full-fledged.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, and
Why do you say around? Don't you just have to do it once?
well, we'll see.
Oh, come on, dude. They're gonna like investigate you for like having all the answers ahead of time or something. Like you're gonna
No,
do
they'll
fine.
let you take it. My kids took it multiple times.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
normally the max is 3 on the SAT.
Yeah, don't beat yourself
right.
up over it too much.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
And of course, you're getting ready for some summer internships and or it's internship, I should say.
Do you know where you're gonna be at?
Well, one is confirmed and one is magical at this point.
Yeah, and the one that's confirmed.
Yeah, what is confirmed?
The one that is confirmed is with NASA at NASA Langley.
That's your safety program?
For
Awesome.
10 weeks. And I'll be working with their lead IT developer in their IT for 10 weeks. So I'll be enjoying some fun stuff there.
Turns out Christian's a pretty smart kid, by the way.
Yeah.
Not that we didn't know that, but congratulations on that, Christian. Summer is going to be here like that, and you're going to be gone, but it'll be fun to kind of hopefully follow you through that internship, and bring you in on the shows, and you can kind of.
Do you get to go on the vomit comet?
Probably not.
No, he's going to be.
That'd be nasty.
He's going to be coding.
I'm gonna be coding.
Summer, right?
They're gonna tie me to a chair and say produce X line of codes for this day before you leave.
Nice.
And then so that'll shoot up most of June and July will be gone. And then we'll have to see if any magical fairies it, but I mean, I've seen some of the apps they're going to incorporate that it's like you have the teacher iPad that uh, interacts with all the student iPads and a lot of interactive learning applications, which is cool, but nothing overly special or something that simplifies my daily workload from a tech standpoint.
Okay. Yeah, I hear you saying it's not really that useful of a device for you.
Yeah.
For you.
And you're
For
also
me.
more of a producer than a consumer. You're producing
Right.
more stuff than you consume. And the iPad is primarily a consumption device.
Precisely.
Which is fine and which is great. And I would say that I do 90% of what I do is consumption, but when I want to produce, I put a lot of effort into it, and I think you'd get more out of it when you're on a more full-fledged machine.
Yeah, and before the show, I was telling Mike, and folks will hear this later, but I really like the idea of like an Ultrabook that had the pivot. All of a sudden that pivoting screen now on a laptop would make sense. So open it, turn it around, and it goes to Metro.
Or the
right?
snap out
Sure,
thing.
sure.
But the thing is, Jim, if you haven't played with Metro a lot, I don't think that the Metro would come out just because you pivoted and made it into a tablet form. I think Metro would be there regardless. That would still be your start menu in the laptop format. It's just that you wouldn't be, and you could touch it there too. But if you wanted to switch to an all-touch menu, if you wanted to watch a movie or if you wanted to play a game, you could flip it and lay it down flat and get rid of the keyboard.
Maybe so. Yeah,
there's a really cool one. I don't know who made it. I was at Micro Center in Cincinnati a few months ago, and there was a tablet that didn't look like it had a keyboard, but then you slid the monitor like to the side, and it like popped up, and there was a keyboard underneath it, almost like a flip phone type thing, where you have a slide out keyboard, like I don't know what's an example of one of those, but anymore. But it was like a hidden keyboard in the netbook style thing,
like the phone, like the phones have had for a while,
like
just
a
a bigger
sidekick.
version of it,
like a sidekick.
Yeah. Sure.
And it would slide out of that and then slide back down. And I thought, well, that's pretty good because it didn't make it that much thicker. I imagine the battery was going to suffer on that thing.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of new form factors are going to come out of this, and it's going to bring more touch into it, which I think is good.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, and I wouldn't either. I'm not interested in picking one up. I don't know. Now the iPad 2 has dropped to $399, and that may be something worth considering as they get a little bit cheaper.
I'll tell you who I think of it for is like, I think, oh, my dad might like that. My grandfather might like that. That's who I think of when I see that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't think of it and say, oh yeah, I want to go out and get one. So
I think I'm the tech support for my mom now, I've been forever. And I think when that PC goes, I think her next PC is probably going to be an iPad 2 at this point.
Sure.
And if they had open Wi-Fi in the building, that would make my decision a lot easier.
Unless you can get her podcasting, and then you need to get her a desktop.
Yeah, no. Although she might try. Yeah. But anyways, okay.
Anycast.
Well, I think we had to cover that with the news this week of it coming out. They're going to sell a gazillion of those things.
I know. People are already waiting.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Well, I did spend some money this week. Actually, last weekend I was hanging out with the guys on Rich's Random Podcast, and I'll show you what I spent. So I had $300, and I bought a Fujitsu Primergy. It's a TX100 S2. That means nothing to anyone, and it doesn't matter what it is. There's a little. It's kind of just it's a server configuration, little box, 4 gig of RAM. It came with a 250 gig hard drive. Core i3 540, so the first gen Core i3 series chip. Pretty low power usage. It's the one I use today on my primary PC. A nice little box. Actually, I thought on the picture it looked a little bit smaller than it actually is. I've got it set up right now, and I've been installing updates to it. The goal is to actually make it a dedicated broadcast server and maybe offload some processes to it. Not automatically, because one of the problems I have with podcasting is if you get too much automatic stuff set up on it, then all of a sudden in the middle of a podcast, something takes off and then everything goes haywire. But for $299, and I really did need a more powerful box. I've been doing broadcast server has been my main PC, and I've been using a little P4 at 3 gigahertz. The thing just is on fire when I'm running it because it's an old P4 chip. You know, those things ran super hot. That actually drives, I mean, it actually drives the video okay. It's not great, but it drives it okay. So been installing some updates to it, and I was hoping to have it actually in and ready to go for tonight's podcast, but it just finished up its updates. So after the show, probably tonight, I will put that in. But a nice little deal. It had gone, it's at Newegg, it had gone off sale, or they'd run out of stock right after I bought it. And some of the guys at the Home Server Show were trying to get a hold of one, and they couldn't. It's back in stock. So as of this recording Friday, March 16th, it's back in stock. Nice little box, built really well, very solid. It's got a nice, it doesn't feel like a cheap case, you know, that you might get. I think for $299, not a bad little desktop.
So why that over the micro server?
Oh, processor power for sure.
This is more powerful.
Oh yeah, that Core i3 is probably twice as powerful, maybe a little bit more than that. The 1.5 N40L that's in the I think they call it a Neo, that's in the micro server, and I've got both, and I tried that at one point in time, and the live stream software brings it to its knees. Yeah. Okay. So. Yeah, nice little find. This will be my deal of the week if it stays around for the week. But the guys are a bad influence. I used to think the BYOB guys were bad, but Rich O'Neill, like, dude, you just need to get your wallet out, buy, you know, because I was talking about this P4 that I'm running.
Yeah.
And he was like, it has hyper threading, but I mean that thing I've had forever. He was like, you just need to buy it, and so for $299, not too bad of a deal.
So trying to keep pace with Rich O'Neill on buying technology is about as smart as earmuffs, Christian. That college friend that you tried to keep pace with when you were going out to the bars drinking, you know? Okay, you can take your earmuffs off now, Christian.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, that's mean. But anyway, no, it's like, yeah, I've heard the podcast before, and I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe how much they just spent in this one podcast.
I know.
So
They are a bad influence on me.
We love living vicariously through.
Oh, I know. That Sunday afternoon podcast, you know, we pretty much move Rich's podcast 2 p.m. Central, 3 Eastern on Sunday afternoons here at theaverageguy.tv. Yeah. I seems like I buy something every week. And then I also picked up a little $22 Intel PCI network card for the micro server, because it just has one, and I want to run some VMs off of it, and it's really handy to kind of split those apart and assign an IP to each one of the NIC
cards. Expansion slots, PCI slots on that?
Yeah, it has 2, and nice. I've got a USB 3 card in one, and I'll put the NIC card in the other. $22 for a gigabit Ethernet card right now on Newegg. They've got, and you know what? I went to Best Buy. Now this is you always pay twice as much, right? But they've got what's their house brand? Dynex? Is that sound right? The Dynex. It's $20 for the card for a very similar card. I'm sure the chipsets. I mean,
dude, I haven't stepped in Best Buy in years. It seems like
that's a good place to look at things.
I don't know. Not when you got a Fry's or a Micro Center or something like that.
Right.
Like,
yeah, you got to remember where I live.
I'm spoiled. Spoiled, Jim.
Yeah, no, you got to remember where I live. Christian, what's the nearest? Do you have a Super Fry's or Micro Center or something near you?
No.
No, so everything's online for you guys too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Newegg or Amazon.
Well, you have Best Buy, but
you don't buy from there, right?
No.
No.
Well, as a former employee, that's another reason I may not like going in there. But I used to be a blue shirt guy.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Before the Geek Squad?
Oh, dude, if Geek Squad had existed, I would have ruled them like an iron fist. So, because every day they'd have like these people who were the install guys in the back, and they'd come up and they're like, "This thing's broken. Do you know how to fix it?" I'm like, "Yes, but I'm a salesperson, so you need to leave me alone." And they kept making me do their stuff for them, so I was like, "Yeah, I'm not doing this anymore." But, I would have had the little Volkswagen Bug and
run around. No. Yeah. It's better that you're in the hospital doing your doctor's.
I suppose.
That's good stuff. Chris, you said you had a little story for us.
Oh yeah. So this is the Home Tech podcast. So
yeah.
in the last, I believe 24 hours, I've had probably the largest piece of tech in my apartment die on me, and
TV?
that's my refrigerator.
Oh no.
So everything's very warm in my refrigerator, and I measured the temperature, and it's about 67 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 4 degrees cooler than my apartment. And the freezer, everything is kind of frozen, but it's kind of mushy. So this is a pseudo tech question. What do you throw out and what do you save? Does everything have to go because it could all be functified now? Or, I think the meats and cheeses need to go.
The cheeses would make it a little longer than.
But they're kind of soft and squishy now.
I guess it depends what kind of cheese.
The butter is kind of smushy.
Butter can stay out. That's fine. Butter can sit
eggs.
out for weeks before it becomes rancid.
Eggs.
Eggs, I wouldn't give any
In
more
the shell.
any 3 days. No, hard boil those things though if you can. Just throw them in hard boil and boil
They're
them
still
now.
good now, you think?
How long has it been?
Probably a day.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there's some tech. I have an egg hard boiler.
Yeah.
It's a little Black & Decker thing. So I'll just.
Black & Decker?
I think it's Black & Decker. Yeah.
Wow, nice.
It looks like an egg. It's great.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust the meat. Meat would.
No, meats are going.
Or you cook them.
The milk has got to go.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Chug it. Chug the milk.
Eat the
all
eggs
the
raw.
cheese.
Yeah. So yes, I'm a little bummed that my refrigerator is dead, but I'm renting my apartment, so I don't have
Is
to pay
that
for it,
and
so.
so they'll replace that? I was gonna say, do you have to go out and get a fridge? Because
I don't know. Can you not fix fridges? Like, can I just put a new processor in it and reboot it?
Yeah. Did you just try to reboot it?
I don't know. No. Don't they just put new Freon in it or?
Yeah.
whatever
Sometimes if the compressor goes, you can just replace the compressor and then.
Oh, my rental people are cheap. They'll just like.
All right. So you're
cold pack in it every day for me or something.
You're
like.
Yeah. It's well, that's a bummer. That's a bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah, cook up as much as you can. I mean, some of that stuff will stay around.
Well, I found it this morning and I cooked the warm bacon because you can't let bacon die. That's just not okay.
No, that would be a crime. Yeah.
But everything else, I'm bemoaning the loss of. Thankfully, I'm a rather poor bachelor who just kind of has like 2 days worth of food in his fridge at any given time, so I'm not throwing that much out. But I made this really nice thing of salsa. It's like a gallon of salsa, and the tub is now like filled with air where it's being eaten by
bacteria.
things. So I think I need to destroy that.
Yeah,
So.
I would. Although the hotter you make it, the longer that stuff will last. But Christian,
yeah, but it's gonna be hot because it's eating through my esophagus.
Christian, this is a little insight into what life's going to be like for you when you're in college. And
he has a refrigerator. He knows what happens. So.
That'll be interesting.
More like in 3 months when I have to do this.
Yeah, that's true. You will be on your own. But you've done that the last 2 summers,
what happened?
right?
Oh, for the summer?
Yeah, for the summer. You've been gone the last 2 summers, right? So you're pretty self-sufficient.
I mean, when the fridge on the space station goes out, what do you do?
Call mission control and say bail out.
And when you drive the Mars probe into the planet, how long do you last at NASA after that? You'll get your metric conversion right?
Yeah, you'll get the time conversion right.
Yeah.
You won't have to convert. It's 0 in both metric.
Well, Christian, what have you been up to? What kind of tech have you been? What kind of tech things you've been working on?
Mostly tinkering with more Java coding, but took a look at the Windows 8 consumer preview as well, and interestingly enough, some things do load faster. Primarily, if you look at Windows Media Center, it seems a lot more responsive in Windows 8 than it ever was in previous versions.
Really?
Including the HD home run.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Big time.
It's just very.
We'll have to give that a try.
Binary is very clean for it, and it's really responsive overall. And that was, I believe, using the latest Silicon Dust home run prime drivers and firmware. And
to give an example of why that works faster for me, so I was never able to stream HD over-the-air content over my wireless to my laptop with any consistency. It would start getting choppy right away.
Yeah.
And
it
doesn't chop at all.
Really?
Yeah.
No, it streams flawlessly.
Wow.
Looks
So this is the
great.
first I've really heard of this improvement with Media Center.
Yeah, not only Media Center, but just EXEs in general seem to have a much better time in Windows 8 operating. So I don't know if there's some kind of architectural changes there, but yeah, you can tell in
Well, it's
Media
closing
Center.
down all the stuff in the background. You're not running all the
Right.
background processes. It's really good at shutting stuff down.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you can just tell in Media Center. So it's the same interface, same look, same features, but my goodness, the load capability is a world of difference.
I definitely agree with that.
So I may still hate the
It's good to hear.
interface, but I think they've got a lot of internal stuff that they've actually improved upon.
So you're an interface hater too, huh?
I'm an interface hater, but I think if they could reincorporate an interface that actually worked with all these internal improvements that I think aren't going to really show up until people start playing around with it more.
So
then they'd
Christian,
have
what do you
something.
think's lost with the new interface?
As these things do come together, that live account will control a lot of things, and or Hotmail or whatever it might be. So, Christian, did you have anything? That was a good coverage, Chris. That was excellent. Thank you for walking through that. I had not seen that just type feature. I think that's what they called it in the WebOS.
Yeah.
Just type. And
play with it because it really does make a difference in how you use the whole OS.
Yeah, the whole idea was just, okay, what do I want to do? Just put it in, and eventually you could just say it, right? That would be, and it would just do.
I think you can already.
So,
I think if you turn on speech recognition, you can just say like search and then say a name and it'll just go.
Search for this, bam, it's in. So that'd be pretty interesting. Might even work better than Siri. Just saying. Christian, did you have any Christian Corner stuff?
Christian Corner is gonna rest his case.
Very good. Hey, just quietly, while the iPad was coming out, Microsoft released some news on the next version of the Xbox that's going to come to us in 2013. You know,
really?
That's what they're saying, right? Is the company it's going to squeeze one more year out of the current Xbox sales, and then the company will show the new Xbox 360 or whatever they're going to call it at E3 next year's E3. So June 2013.
Where did you hear this? Because I want to say I just saw a headline that said that was not the case.
Oh, really?
I saw something on Engadget a bit ago.
That's what I'm thinking.
This is on Business Insider.
Hang on, Jim. We're gonna.
Oh yeah, let's bring it out.
Like Microsoft being like, whoa, hold your horses. Yes, that was out there, but this is exciting podcasting right now. Listen, Microsoft says there will be no talk of new Xbox hardware at E3 or anytime soon.
Well, this article says 2013, June 2013.
Well, that's
a year from now. Soon. You think so?
I don't know when E3 is, but
well, June 2013.
Well, it won't be then or anytime soon. So,
well, the next E3 is June 2012.
Oh, okay. So, then maybe it'll be E3 2013.
Yeah.
But they're basically saying don't get your hopes up. But they say that all the
time. Yeah. So. It's interesting, you know, that Xbox console, you know, will need a refresh. It'll be about 8 years old by that point. Although they've
got a half one. It got a makeover.
Yeah. Yeah. True. 0.5.
Yeah.
Kind of a 0.5 update to it. And I still haven't bought one.
You'll like it, man.
You'll
like it.
I need to go
like, wow, my old one sucked. This is great.
You think it would be wrong to give my wife an Xbox for her birthday?
Yes. Even your wife. And she'd be about the one person that I would say go for it, but
that could be the end.
Yeah.
That could be the end for sure. So all right. Well, I've got a bunch of material to tag on to the end of this. Chris, anything else showing up on your tech radar that
let me see here. Anything? I'm just kind of looking around, see if I got any other toys. I don't think
I
have too much. So
yeah.
You know, it's just a short story, but we all have friends and family that kind of see the technology that we use and play with and want to jump in as well. And I had a friend in medical school that followed me down the home server pathway. and he bought an HP Media Smart server, and it died on him a few months ago, and it was pretty much unsalvageable. But he had all the data on his disks, so I helped him build his first PC over Skype. He'd never built a PC on his own, so I helped him pick out all the parts, and with the help of the Home Server Show forums, because there were some great ideas of really good parts to build a new system. And we spent 2 hours building it on the phone, and it was really like nice to encourage him and be like, nope, that's where that goes. You plugged it in the right place. You know, that's how much pressure you're supposed to feel when you put in the, you know, the memory and all that. And he gets it all done, and he goes, all right, I'm plugging it in. Moment of truth. Hits the power button. Nothing.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, oh, all right, make sure everything's plugged in real tight. Still nothing. Right? So we've troubleshooted it for like 40 minutes. Can't find a damn thing.
Yeah.
So and I was like, dude, I'm not there. Like, I don't know what to tell you. And he doesn't have, like, I know we do. We have all these extra parts everywhere.
Right.
You could just swap things in one at a time. He doesn't have any of that. So I'm like, you got to find a local geek, you know. So I sent him to a local computer repair guy, and the guy runs a bunch of diagnostics. He has it for a week before he gives it back to him. And I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? You know what he finally says was the problem? That I didn't instruct him to install the standoff pegs between the motherboard and the case.
So it was shorting out on the...
He thought it was shorting out on the case. And I was like, you know, I think in the old days that was a problem. I think there were like certain old cases or weird motherboard designs, but I really didn't think that had anything to do with a modern...
Yeah, it does. I did that recently, actually.
Did you really?
Yeah, it might have been a little bit over a year ago I did that.
So you really do need a peg no matter what?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So might that explain why my home theater PC occasionally just shuts off for no reason and reboots?
Yeah.
So I should gut it and put pegs in?
You gotta have the standoffs.
Wow. And then I did a search online, and I read lots of people saying, "Oh, no, you don't need them. You don't need them."
No.
But all right. Well, hey, so I've learned something.
I'll be honest. I've installed them, and some of those cases, they have raised. You know, they've got raised standoffs already in there for you. Yeah. And I've just installed it straight on top and haven't had any problems. But
like raised where the case has like a punched out indent, it's raised where there's like a new thing screwed into it.
Yeah, so there's a little bubble, and then the screw pieces go into that. So you can set the motherboard on top of that, and it's raised up enough that it keeps the board off the case.
That's what his
I know. I'm just saying I've done that straight, and it's worked.
So I learned something, and I may need to fix my home theater PC because I don't know why else it's just crashing all of a sudden. So
it's a good idea to use the standoffs.
So a little note to everybody that I didn't know this, and I consider myself somewhat geek savvy, but it's a bad thing when you spend all that time, and unfortunately it cost my buddy $150, so I think I owe him a lot of beer.
Did he blow the board?
No, the guy. Okay. That's just what the guy charged.
The guy charged him, huh?
You know, in fairness, I think it's all right because, you know, it took a lot to find that, because since he didn't put it together, he didn't even think, oh, maybe they didn't install stands behind this. And it wasn't until he took the motherboard out and said, oh, I would have put these things in, and he screwed them in, and it worked. So, you know, I applaud the guy for finding that and for it actually being the problem. Part of me thinks it wasn't that, and he just you know, the next time he put it together, he plugged the power button in properly or something. But you know, I'll eat some crow and let him get the victory.
Hard to tell. Standoffs are probably it though.
So so stupid tech issue, but I also bought some software. Just 2 seconds on that. I got a copy of HDR software by Photomatrix.
Okay.
Photomatrix Pro. It's I've done some HDR work in the past where I've taken kind of the 3 step-off image exposures so that you can get more out of each picture. And I reprocessed some of the old ones I'd done with this software, and there's no comparison. They look so much better. So if anybody's ever looked at that software and thought, oh, I can just do it in Photoshop, I don't think I can. It's
called Photomatrix?
Photomatrix, yeah. Okay. And it's a little bit pricey, but I found it on a discount. It's from hdrsoft.com. So it's sometimes up on coupons. Sometimes there's different things. There's like an academic discount, things like that.
That might get you a
But
guest spot on JPEG to RAW.
it might. It might. But it's a cool little piece of software. And I think that's all I got.
Cool.
For now.
This week I'll close with this. This week we did twice a year I do a large Oracle conference here in the Omaha area for a user group, and I've always struggled with the scheduling of it because this time we had 36 breakouts, 2 keynotes, and then a day before we had 3 roundtables and 4 demo ground sessions. So lots of things to schedule over the course of a day and a half. And if you've ever tried to do that in Excel, or I used to build just a HTML table, in LiveWriter, and keep them in those cells, and you'd add to the cells, and it worked out okay, but the schedule was really getting too big to manage that way. There's a company called Sched, S-C-H-E-D, Sched.org, and they've just, and I don't know how long they've been out, but I stumbled across them, and they actually, for $99 per event, they have a pretty powerful scheduling agenda-like feature for events just like this one. And so the nice thing was not only could it show the schedule at its website, but you could embed that in your own site if you wanted to, as well as they had a viewer for Android and iPhones that was not an app. You could just go to the site; it would automatically display right on those devices. And so for the first time, we were really able to push the schedule out to a wider audience and get a larger adoption, or a larger viewing audience with it. And I thought it was particularly handy. So again, this is probably niche, but if you're in that, maybe you got something going on at your church or with the Boy Scouts, or you've got to plan a day-long event that has multiple things going on. This Sched.org scheduling software will allow you to put in speakers and venues and locations and maps and different times. It color codes it automatically for you, so you can group events maybe by a silo. So we had Oracle applications, we had Oracle middleware, we had Oracle database. Each one of those sessions then that was in that got a different color code. And
that was worth way more than $100 to you, wasn't it?
Oh, it was worth $1 million to me. Yeah, user group paid. I quickly said, all right, we're paying for this software, and it was really nice to use during it. They have some plans. If you were scheduling a lot of events, you could pay a monthly fee to do it. We just do 2 a year, and the $99 was more than worth.
Awesome.
The price of it. So Sched.org, SCHED.org. If you want to see what it looks like with a real schedule in it, you can go out to Heartland, HEARTLAND, heartlandoug.org. That's our user group site, and there's still a link out there, and you click on that, and I think you can still take a peek at that schedule. And if you want to see what it really does look like, we had 100 or so, 120 at the event, and it made printing out the agenda was really nice because it automatically had a print feature too. Went in there, I'd print it out and send it to the printer, and you could print a couple hundred copies if you wanted to. Very, very easy. Well, guys, thanks for coming out on a Friday evening, and it's I guess it shows the state of our social life, but I appreciate you guys. A good way to start a weekend, and we've got I have a lot of editing to do over the weekend. I got behind, so I just finished up Spartan Radio from Tuesday today, so we'll get some home server show video done, and then I'll get this podcast edited during the weekend. So Andrew, we missed you. I know you're out there doing a firefight with servers at this point, and we'll catch Andrew next week here on the Home Tech Podcast. Everybody have a great weekend. Good night.
Night.
Good night.
Oh, Chris, real quick.
Yes.
Mike Howard is saying you might have given the name is Photomatrix, not Photomatrix, not Photomatrix. What?
Photomatrix.
Chris, the name is not.
Well,
Mike, I don't understand.
is he drinking again?
Oh, it's in Matrix.
What?
Photomatrix.